Look.
What?
Look at these lines here.
Lines?
I've got the surprise lines. With the surprise lines.
Yes? You just got the microphone up your nose.
I was surprised so many times in my life.
Surprise
That I've got the
lines.
surprise wrinkles. What kind of wrinkles do you have?
Deep, well ploughed, heavily furrowed.
Oh, look. That was the surprise lines.
Every time I look at you, it's what the cap's for. The cap,
To hide your
baseball
age.
cap is.
This is a family trait, by the way. All my family has these. On my father's side. It's like an accordion
thing.
Forehead.
Oh, you know that girl, Yanka. Oh yeah, the one with the forehead like an accordion. Oh, that's the one. Oh yeah, yeah. She's a bit weird.
Aren't we all?
Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Once I caught a fish alive.
Right. You took me. Never know which way to go. Which way to go? Do 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 do. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And blast off.
It's on.
It's on.
Scooby-Doo, where are you?
I'm right here and ready to rock and roll. As ready as ever.
You're supposed to do like like the
right.
Scooby-Doo kind of stuff.
You have a rubber snack?
A rubber what?
A ruby snack.
Ruby Roo. That was. It's all going on.
I'm sorry, I'm on my coffee today because I'm feeling a bit
dizzy.
unenergetic.
Why?
Is that a word?
What happened?
Nothing happened. I'm just
you
a
hold
bit.
on to me in case you fall over.
Yeah. I've just had a short night and a long morning.
How many hours did you sleep?
Oh, I got plenty of sleep last night. I got 5 hours.
Yeah?
It's not too bad.
That's alright, that. It could be worse.
I planned 4, but I always, I can't go less than 5 because every time
Why did you plan 4 then?
Every time I plan 4, it just doesn't happen.
What?
My body refuses to wake up. Yeah. So yeah, I have to have at least 5. I planned 4 because I wanted to have more done this morning, but never mind. Never mind.
Oh, what went wrong?
I slept. I turned off my alarm clock and continued sleeping. There's this there's this thing in my brain that always overrides the rationale.
In your brain.
Yeah. It's my reptilian brain that always overrides the rationale, right? And
you crocodile, you.
And it just takes over anytime my alarm clock goes off. So it just, it makes my hand move and turn the alarm clock off, and then it tells me it's okay, you can go back to sleep. So I go back to sleep, even if it's not okay.
You really need to stop listening to those voices.
I know.
Right. You really, really do. By the way, if you're joining us on Facebook, you can do the like and the hearts and the smiley faces.
I love smiley faces. Do the smiley faces. And if you do the hearts, Zora's going to love the hearts because she's got a thing for hearts.
Oh, hearts. Yes, hearts and minds.
Yeah.
There was something about smiling yesterday. We talked about that. What did we talk about? It was connected with smiling yesterday. That if you smile,
yeah. That if you don't exactly feel like smiling, but you smile anyway, you fool your brain, and because the connection of happy and smiling is in your brain. So if you press one button, the other one turns on. And it should to a certain extent work the other way around. That if you just make your face smile, then you can make your hormones be a bit happier.
I've been doing that all morning.
Yeah?
Well, not making my hormones all happier, but
smiling.
No, it was the button thing. You talked about
clicking buttons.
That I thought was technology, right? Clicking one button and something else happens. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Well done.
That's the end of my story.
You've been clicking buttons
I don't
all
have
morning.
any stories because we haven't been anywhere.
Yeah.
Anywhere real.
We're going somewhere real this afternoon because unlike yesterday, Jasmine. Unlike yesterday, it's not raining anymore, thankfully.
What?
It's a wonderful day out there, so we're going out in the park in the afternoon.
Contrast, look. You're just disappearing into the.
That's okay. At least people can't see my lines.
It looks like we're in heaven. Do do do.
Yeah.
What's
you want raisins in it?
Yeah.
Give it to William. He's gonna go in the big cupboard and get out a bag of raisins and fill up your bowl, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, Will?
It's our number one answer.
Thank you.
It? Everyone's going to think we just give everything to Will to do.
Yeah, I know. We do.
Because when we're doing the podcast, we can't really leave the podcast.
We do during the videos, And Will is so great. He's so helpful when we're doing these podcasts. He's the man. He's the man.
He's doing my job, basically.
He's
Laurel's back on. Look at that.
He's the manager. When we can't manage, he's the manager.
Hi, Laurel. How are you?
Hi, Laurel. We haven't seen you for a very long time. How do you say that? Long time no see? Is that English? That's
Indian, apparently.
Is it?
Well, that's what the Indians say, translated directly into English.
I like it.
Yes. Indian language avoids a lot of basic problems, like tenses.
Does it?
I see you yesterday. Oh, okay, I get it.
Oh.
It was in the past.
Exactly.
What's happening?
You don't need tenses. You don't need freaking past participle and present participle and things. There's a bag of rice. Try the bench, Will. Try the bench near the toaster. It might be there.
Are they there?
I'm not quite sure. Actually, I need to organize everything.
Everything?
I need to organize everything. I'm planning an organizational challenge for people out there and myself.
How's the new challenge doing? You already challenged yourself.
Which one? Oh, the food.
You've forgotten already.
The food. Oh, that's doing great. I haven't eaten any bread or pasta or anything like that for 24 hours now.
Yeah, that's probably why you feel like shit.
Yeah, I feel horrible. I've got a headache. I've got massive withdrawal syndromes. Whoa, what's wrong with the word syndrome?
Symptoms. It's withdrawal symptoms, not syndromes.
Right. There you go.
At least you didn't say palindromes. Okay.
And Jasmine
wanted raisins. Well,
last night, do you know what I did last night?
Slept for 5 hours.
No, I had a horalki in my hand and I cut it into 3 parts and I gave them to the kids. And I didn't have any. It's still there.
What?
See, you can't see them because it's all white, but they're still there.
Jazzy just said she wanted a raisin this big.
Yeah, she always says that. I know. That means that she wanted more.
This big.
I didn't want this big. This morning, I gave her some muesli this morning, and she said, "I don't want a teeny weeny little bit. I want this big."
This big.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a growing lass.
Oh yeah, I know.
So there we go.
Yeah, so there we go. Exactly.
Yes, I wanted to say that nothing's happened because we haven't been anywhere.
Anyway,
you're planning.
I have managed to not eat the horalki, and there is an open.
Oh wait, you're talking about the sugar. Sorry.
Yeah, there is an open horalki bar, or whatever you call it, wafer thing, on the bench, just lying there.
No.
Right now, this very moment that I'm speaking. And I haven't touched it. I haven't touched it for 24 hours. It's just there.
There? Where?
Yeah.
How come I didn't see it? What?
It's just there. It's good. It's like a willpower thing. You know?
Willpower.
I know that it's there, and I'm not going to touch it. Let's just stay there forever.
It's not, because I'm going to eat it as soon as I find it.
You said you were doing this with me.
I'm helping you.
Men.
I'm here for you.
They're weak.
I'm here for you, right? So look, basically, Right. If I eat it, then you don't have to worry about eating it. So I've taken away one worry.
There's also a whole bar of chocolate in the cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Do you need anything, my darling?
Will is...
What can I get? What would you...
I don't know what he's doing.
Well,
He's
can you
making
speak, please?
Will, can you use words instead of waving your arms like a giraffe?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you.
This sounds like because after I unplug it, I'll be able to plug this in.
Okay.
Super.
Good.
Do that.
Good. You need to buy a charger.
I need to buy charger cables because they just go. They go like crazy.
Where do they go?
They just go to the land of dead chargers.
The land of dead chargers.
I don't know if anybody else has noticed this. Probably the whole world have noticed it.
I probably haven't.
That the mini USB, is it called mini USB cables, are just really shit. They keep breaking like all the time. Like the cheapy one that I showed you, the one that looks like
ones?
I bought one cheap one for myself that looks like candy canes. I bought it because it looks like candy canes. And it survived. Yes, it survived all the other cables. I bought expensive ones in Dartart, I think. And one of them is still working. I don't know. I gave you two of them, I think. Or three, I don't remember.
I tend to find that I have like about 10 of them, and I keep every month having to buy 2 or 3 more because they just stop functioning.
Exactly, they just stop functioning.
Quite
My
why
cheapy
a data cable should stop functioning is beyond me because you're not doing anything with it.
Exactly, but the cheapy candy cane one is great. It's been working.
Why don't you buy lots of cheapy candy canes?
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to go to the Tiger shop and buy cheapy candy cane chargers.
You got them from the Tiger.
Yeah.
The Tiger.
Yeah.
I haven't been in that shop.
Oh, there's a lot of cheapy stuff, but it's nice.
It looks like there's a lot of things that I
don't need.
It looks like because I haven't been in the shop. Obviously, I need nothing that is in that shop.
Yeah. It's an interesting shop because some of those things are quite cheap considering what they are, and others are quite expensive considering what they are because everything costs between 1 and 7 euros. You know, and
is that a fact? It's like there are nothing more than 7 euros.
There's probably some things that are more than 7 euros, but most of the stuff is like, you know, kind of cheapy stuff, and some of it is cheap and cool, and some of it is.
It's always full of people.
Not so cheap.
Yeah. People wandering around looking at things.
So things are cool and funny. I got that nose thing in it. You know, the pencil sharpener. I got like a nose-shaped pencil sharpener, and you stick the pencil in a nostril, and you sharpen it.
That thing is ugly.
I thought it was so funny. And the rubber boots. Will's rubber boots for rubbering.
Don't be surprised if you wake up in the morning and Jasmine has rammed the pencil up your nose thinking that she's actually going to sharpen it.
Shut up, she's not stupid.
Well, it's not being stupid, is it? I mean, it's just copying what? Oh, nose and sharpened pencil. Ram.
You're making me laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
They've got good games though. You know, they've got like magnet puzzles and Pexas games and card games and they've got something I wanted to buy. It was like they've got like storytelling dice. You know?
Excuse me?
Storytelling dice.
I don't know what that is.
It's like 4 or 5 dice with like pictures on them.
Okay.
And you throw them. You look at the pictures, and you have to make a story with those pictures.
With those pictures.
Well, I think that's quite cool.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I know. They've got stuff that you've never seen before. Wow. I've never seen them before, either. I've made a game like that with words written on a dice, but I haven't seen, you know, the original kind of thing.
It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, I know. They've got, you know, like a lot of rubbish, and then suddenly you find something that's actually interesting. It's that kind of shop that you can occasionally find cool things.
Yeah, it's stuff that's interesting yet unnecessary. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with luxuries.
They had like hobby horse, right? Zora's always kind of salivating on the hobby horses they have. You know, the usual stick and a head, but it's a pink head with a unicorn horn. She's always like, "Oh, mommy, I want a unicorn." It's quite funny.
How expensive is it?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Probably not much. Probably €7.
How surprising. Wow. Could do one of those myself. Off into town on my hobby horse. Can you imagine?
You would just hop on your wheel and stick the hobby horse between your.
Oh, that's a great idea. I could stick the hobby horse onto the electric unicycle, and spin off into town.
Yeah.
And people
on
be
your
like,
unicorn.
People be like, "Oh, look at that guy on that horse, unicorn." Sorry,
unicorn, yeah.
Unicorn.
And you get the, I would give you the glitter that I bought there, and you could just kind of, just throw glitter around you, at people.
Probably get my face punched in if I do that.
More raisins. Tell Will. Will's the boss. Okay.
Will's the raisin man.
The raisin man. Have you seen the raisin man?
What's that? We'll get.
Go tell Will.
Zora, Scotty.
Zora, Scotty. She's not Scotty anymore. She told me she's Zora again.
Zora, why don't you go with your sister, who's just
dropping?
Well, I was lucky that she dropped the ball on the wooden floor rather than the tiled floor.
Yeah, it didn't break the ball.
That's. Oh,
that's okay, darling. Accidents happen.
They all heard Ricky say he fired his 6-shot to the wind and blew that guy away. Sorry. Odd lyrics from my childhood. Skid Row, 18 in life. Right.
I can see some picture here in front of us. Welcome to the Practical Parenting, by the way. We didn't really say welcome. So, welcome to the Practical Parenting. We're here for you. If you have any questions about parenting, just pop them in the chat and we'll be very happy to give you our take on it. We are all respectful and peaceful parenting people. So, we can give you alternatives to not so peaceful things that don't work.
Welcome to the Alternatives to Not So Peaceful Things That Don't Work podcast.
Yes,
oh, that's a mouthful.
Yes. But,
what?
You know.
Don't you?
Because not so peaceful things very often don't work. Probably never, actually, when you look at the long-term effects, right?
Yeah, well, there we go.
Yeah.
So how has military spending worked for the government? I ask you. Right. Oh dear, a political reference? I'm sorry. It's parenting, isn't it?
Quoi? Moi?
Pourquoi?
So I can see this picture here.
What does that mean?
Looking at me.
Does that mean why in French?
Pourquoi, yes.
Pour vous. What does that mean? Does that mean something in French?
For you.
Pour moi? Pour moi? Is that right?
Non, monsieur.
Pour moi? Je ne comprends pas.
It says improving communication with your teen, and I can't see anything else.
You actually want to do something constructive.
Because I don't have my glasses on, so you're going to have to tell people what it's about. It's like an infographic from Pinterest, isn't it? That you popped on your tablet.
People are not supposed to know that. That's supposed to be a secret.
Well, you have to give credit where credit is due, but we don't really know.
I usually say I give the website or
the link at the bottom.
Yeah. Don't want to give out all the secrets.
And he's going to do that again. What? He's going to put the link at the bottom in the chat.
The picture on the graphic reminds me of you a bit.
Which one?
The one with the glasses and the red nose and the funny hair.
And a manic smile.
and the backwards hands.
And red ears. Do I have red ears? I do now.
Red ears. Right.
Actually.
How to improve communication? Are we doing this one?
I don't know. Well, you popped it on, so I assumed we are.
Popped it on.
Right.
We can talk our way through it.
I find it hard to give people advice about teen people because I don't have any experience with it. I know you have experience because you teach teenagers, right?
I try to help them.
Yeah, but I don't have any practical experience with teenagers. I know the theory, right? Like what you should do. I know the theory, like what you should have done up till this point, so you wouldn't have this problem now, right? But that doesn't help anybody. So if you want to do that, you can do that.
Well, we can maybe talk about that. I've got these tips and tricks, right? I thought we could just review a couple. I think there's 6 or 7 of these little things that make big differences.
Okay. So what's that all about then? Tips and tricks. What kind of tips and tricks do you have for us?
Okay, tips and tricks. Number 1.
Have your coffee.
I don't have any coffee to drink. I don't have any juice to drink because we've run out again. Who keeps drinking it all?
Jasmine. It was Jasmine again. Seriously. Seriously, I'm not making it up.
You're blaming everything on the little one.
No! She was standing at the bench and she was going on about, Mommy, I want the juice. And I was like, you've got it in your cup. And she was like, no, I want the bottle. And I said, no, you've got it in your cup. So I didn't give in, right? Because I explained to her that she can't drink other people's juice. She's got her own. So it wouldn't be fair for other people if she drank their juice, and she should drink her own. I came back in the kitchen 5 minutes later, and she's standing there with an empty bottle of juice at the bench, and with the juice cup still full. So there you go.
Well, she knows what she wants.
Obviously.
And she knows how to
Maybe I
get
could
it.
make you some juice.
What?
Maybe I could make you some juice.
Oh, juicing the juice.
I've got
Real
apples,
juice.
I've got celery stalks, I've got cucumbers, I've got some ginger. That might be nice, no?
I'm not saying no. I'm not complaining. I'm definitely not.
I could sure do with something healthy, because I'm kind of
No sleeping.
wasting away.
No sleeping on the pod. Right. That's better. Improve your posture.
Improve your posture. I've been trying to do that all day today because I got lazy. For the last month, right?
How do you have time to get lazy? I don't have time to get lazy.
Well, that's the thing. I ran out of time. I didn't have time. It all started with I had like this massively long translation.
Here comes a big excuse.
Yes. I had this massively long translation.
Stories are always excuses.
And I ended up
almost
planted on the sofa for 4 days, just working on the translation, right? You remember me vegetating there at the sofa.
On the sofa?
Just
yesterday?
with my laptop. No. This was about like 3 weeks ago.
Oh.
And that's when I went from my I kind of exercise, like semi-regularly, and I'm feeling all fit and happy, and that's when I went into the I'm planted on the sofa and I can't be even bothered to stand up, and I had a lack of sleep, and I had a lot to do, and I had a perfect excuse not to exercise, because who's got time for exercise when you've got a lot to do, right? And then it just kind of dragged. It dragged all the way up till now.
That philosophy, because it needs to be, I've got a lot to do, so I need to do some exercise, because that energizes you and charges you. Not I don't have time to do the exercise because I got a lot to do.
I know, and I did the stress eating thing as well. That's when I fell off the wagon, and I started to eat sweets and a lot of bread and all that stuff that I'm trying to.
Stuff that should.
Stuff.
Should be a word.
Yes, that's when you want to say the H word, but you changed your mind in the middle.
At the last.
Yes. So that's when I fell off the health wagon and fell in a very deep ditch of not moving and eating bad stuff.
Where was I when you were not moving and eating all this bad stuff? What was I doing?
You were working. doing what you're always doing. You're doing what you always
I'm always doing something.
Well, I did, I'm not saying that I didn't move a muscle in a whole month. I did the occasional exercise, like maybe once a week, but that is way, way too little. It's just not enough. And I ate bad.
A token nod in the direction of exercise.
Yeah, exactly. And I ate bad stuff, and now I'm like, now I'm paying the price, people. I'm paying the price. Yeah, because that's what happens when you're not taking care of yourself, right? That's why you have to take care of yourself. No excuses.
I did point out a little while ago.
Yeah.
That you didn't look like you were taking care of yourself.
No, I didn't. I didn't take care of myself, which is a shame, because I teach other people how to take care of themselves, and I fell off the wagon myself. So, but that happens. And
you can't teach other people how to stay on the wagon if the wagon is dragging you down the road. You can't do that.
I know I can't. Yeah, that's why I wasn't. Maybe that's why I wasn't really focusing on the healthy lifestyle side of things that much. If you've read my articles, it was mostly about psychology. It wasn't much about the physical. But I would like to increase my focus on that as well in my work on the 21st Century Mum, spelled MUM.com.
Were you purposefully writing about the psychological because you didn't want to think about the physical?
Well, I don't know. That might have happened subconsciously. I wrote about the psychological because I'm really interested in it, and I think it's got a huge impact on everybody's lives. Obviously. I mean, it's what runs you, right? But obviously, it's not
sort of
the only thing that runs you. Obviously, you need to kick your arse.
I like to think that I run
care.
me. That things are done with purpose.
Yes.
That's what I like to think.
I really need to blow my nose.
Yeah.
I'm desperate for blowing my nose. I don't have a tissue here though.
Would you like to be excused?
I would like to be excused for just a little bit because I find it really hard to talk.
Okay.
Well, okay.
You put your hand up and ask.
Sorry,
nicely.
people, but we're still not completely.
You're not.
We're still not completely 100%.
You're not. Speak for yourself. I feel like Superman. Right. In the form of Clark Kent, actually. I was a little bit stressed, but I got it done. There was a need to get things done, and I got them done. So, you probably couldn't hear what Yanka was saying as she wandered off into the distance. Yes, please blow your nose in the other room, right? And not in this one. Oh, if you all could see what I can see. Right. Once again, if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, thanks. And, check out the video at some point in time. We're on YouTube and we're on Facebook Live. You can chime in, you can contribute, you can be a part of this by typing your questions in on Facebook or in the YouTube live chat. If you want to ask any questions about parenting, if there's something that you're not sure about, if there's something that you've heard and you would like a second opinion about something, or even a third opinion, then we're happy to tell you about our experiences. We don't know everything, but we have some experience and we know something. So maybe if we put our heads together, we can find a reasonable solution. So yeah, effective parenting. A couple of little tricks and tips that we're going to look at with effective parenting. Coming up, the first one is
raisins.
No, the first one is not raisins. No? Raisins. You're going to be chomping away, eating while we talk about this. Right.
Women.
Get on with it. Okay.
Move your toes, please.
Who knows where the toes
goes? That did not make grammatical sense whatsoever. Any kind.
Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses supposes ironically. A Mose is a Mose.
A toes is a toes.
Prose is prose. No, that's not the next line.
Don't know.
Humpty-doopty-doodle. Sorry. I know that line because it doesn't have any words. Can you imagine it being the writer of that? Oh my God! What do we? How do we transition this part? What words do we use? Humpty.
That's a good one. We should use it in the pod.
What?
We should use it in the pod. You know when you get stuck, and you want to change to a different.
Huh?
You want to change to a different topic, and you don't know how to do it like smoothly. You can just say Humpty Dumpty Doodle, and people will know. What you're doing.
Yeah, it never happens to me.
Yeah, I know. 'Cause you're a genius. So, what are we doing?
With a smile on her face. We're gonna point out some obvious things that people don't really think about a lot, but they are.
Posture. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
Posture. We're going to start with posture. If you'd like to stand or sit in the right position. No, we're not. No! Put it back! It was... Look what you've done it again. You cannot go through a 60-second podcast without, at some point during the podcast, pulling the cables off the table or yanking on something you shouldn't. You know, that's why you're called yanker, because you just yank on stuff constantly, isn't it?
I'm sorry, I didn't. How was I supposed to know?
Because I told you when I did it that the book is there to hold the cables. You obviously did not listen to me.
You must have not listened to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Now I can say women. I ignored it before and tried not to say it at all. But you
can't not say it.
Women in cables are like men with baby lotion, right? Or some
weird images in my head. Okay.
All right, maybe they're not. It's, you know what? The stupid analogy, the stupid, irrelevant, pointless, useless, wrong analogy.
Women working with cables is like men pairing socks. Ah.
It's like men repairing socks. Right. It should be. It's because I watched that episode of Friends this morning. Or that clip that I put in the daily masterclass.
That was a funny clip.
Newsletter.
Watch the Daily Masterclass, people, because that was a funny clip.
Did you watch the clip? It is funny.
I did.
It is funny.
It's funny. It's ridiculously funny, yes.
Yeah.
I didn't, there was nothing, the
almost a sentence. Wow. No nouns or verbs or adjectives, but
the end was missing. So we didn't find out what the money was for.
Oh, then you have to... Well, then I put in the extra activity to go and read the full script.
You did, yes.
But people will go and watch.
I didn't watch the full.
Actually, they could probably find the episode, watch the episode. Students could find the episode, watch the episode, and compare it with the script, and then go and get drunk, because that's how it always ends with students. Right.
Students. That's what students do. Funnily enough.
Study hard.
Most of them in Slovakia, anyhow. I don't know how it works elsewhere.
There's a wasp on the window.
Yeah, no.
Just I didn't want you to panic at any point in time. And
I don't panic.
Scream out, wasp!
No, I let it inside, actually. It looked a bit cold out there.
You let the wasp in?
Okay, I didn't do it on purpose, but I opened the balcony door and it kind of flew in, and then it didn't want to get out when I told it to.
Because wasps don't speak English.
Oh, was I supposed to speak Slovak to it? Or French?
Waspish.
Waspish. I don't speak Waspish.
Right. Anyway, talking about language. Yelling silences your message.
Yes, I know.
Effective parenting 101. Right. Yelling. The louder the volume, the lower the content. Ooh, I should meme that one out, shouldn't I? Did you like that one?
I did. Yeah. I did.
Speak quietly. So if you notice that the more quietly you speak, the more people have to listen to you.
It's a bit like with that Scooby-Doo over there.
The one that I can hear and it's bugging me right now.
The more quiet it plays, the closer kids will go to the screen and try to listen to it. And try to decipher the words.
Or if you will, you'll climb into the speaker.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So speak quietly so your children can hear your words instead of just your voice.
You know, sometimes I yell, but mostly if I do that, it's only to shock the kids. Because because when you speak with a normal tone of voice and they're
peaceful parenting, I'd shock the kids.
No, because sometimes they're engulfed in their activity, right? And you don't have sometimes you don't have the means to go there and touch them and kind of get their attention, you know. Oh God. Just a sec. So if I can't reach because I'm like at the stove or something and I need to get their attention now, I use my loud voice, you know. I would yell to get their attention, not to like punish them or not to verbally abuse
How do
them.
they take it? I mean, do they take it as is it kind of negative? Are they picking up negativity from it, or what do you think?
I think it depends on when you use it. I mean, if you use it because you lose it, just like what I just said that I don't do usually, mostly, because we're all humans, right?
We'll decipher that one later.
Sometimes you can lose it because you're human. But
I'm only human.
yeah, I think if you use it because you lose it, then they pick up the negativity from it because you mean it negatively. But if you don't mean it negatively, if you just do it like, hey,
I
snap,
think that
I need to tell you something.
Go over there.
I think they don't pick up negativity. I think it's okay. You just don't want me.
No, I do. No, okay. Right. There's no need to shout. Speaking quietly. Yeah, I've noticed that if you gradually, slowly lower the volume of your speech during a conversation or even a presentation, then people have to listen just a little bit more carefully to what it is that you're saying. It's also a nice variation in the speech. When you speak, you need to vary the flow of your speech. You need to vary the intonation of your speech. You need to make pauses in the right place to take the pauses effectively when you're speaking. And so how you use your voice, your command of your voice is very important in your interaction with your children. Have you ever had that experience where you tape yourself or record yourself and you listen back to yourself and you're like, oh my God, the sound of my own voice. It's one of those little secrets that most singers don't like the sound of their own voice. They're very uncomfortable with it. As are most people. Most people are very uncomfortable with the sound of their own voice. Especially British people, because in British schools there's not a lot of oral examination, there's not a lot of oral presentation, and so people are not working on those skills. And that's definitely something that everybody needs to focus on. So, welcome back. Problem solved?
Oi.
Yeah.
It's your foot again.
What?
It's extremely cold.
My foot?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Your toes are cold.
It's cool.
Yes,
it's
problem
cool.
solved.
Right, okay.
Oops, microphone's up my nose again.
And you've got the cable.
Cable, yeah, I know. I have to keep myself organized and sorted.
Get your organs in order. Right. So I think I covered that one while you were away. So,
okay.
So we'll move on to the next useful trick and tip is about self-control. That teaching children self-control is far more effective than actually trying to control your children. Because if you teach them to control yourself, you are passing on the responsibilities for the emotions to the children. It's very important for them at the right time to pick up that responsibility and to run with it.
Yes, but how do you teach them self-control?
Would you like some examples? So
I give you a problem and you give me the solution, yeah?
That's how it usually works.
Yeah. So Zora's animalistic reaction to frustration, right?
So what, you ask her a question
and she goes,
oh well,
okay. And what I'm trying to teach her to do is use language, right? So what I do is I repeat to her again and again and again and again. I don't understand that. You have to use your words, darling. And I always tell her, if you're frustrated, say it. If you're angry, say, Mommy, I'm angry. But it seems to be like ping-ponging, off her. And it's just not happening. It's just not happening. She's
not getting through.
No, it's not getting through. She just makes the animal noise like a frustrated dinosaur, and it's pretty challenging.
Have you asked her why she makes the noise?
It challenges my self-control.
We need to say that she's almost 5, right?
Yeah, she's almost 5.
She's almost
yes.
5. Okay.
So she has perfect verbal capabilities of expressing herself, but she chooses to just not bother expressing herself verbally.
Not always. She has other times when she can be quite eloquent about things. So it's
Yes, but not in times of emotional turmoil. You know?
Have you asked her where she gets it from?
No.
Okay. Well, I would begin by trying to find this. So if we're looking around rather bizarrely, it's because the wasp just kind of
flew in front of his nose.
It
It went to sit on the hanging chair over there and have a wee swing.
Hopefully not. Right.
Yeah.
What's the question?
I asked self-control. You mean?
I asked you teach? I asked you if she, if you've asked her
where she gets it from.
Where she gets it from?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Do you think that she's seen it modeled somewhere?
I don't know. But another point is that when I talk to her about it, what she does is she goes, as if I'm not listening to you, and she walks away. You know, so if you ask her where she gets it from, she's probably just gonna go
talk to the hand kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, do you just keep repeating yourself and keep giving her the alternatives and just hope that one day she'll pick it up?
Oh, you don't hope that one day she'll pick it up. She will pick it up eventually.
Yes, she will pick it up eventually, but is there anything you can do to make it a bit faster?
I don't think you can speed up phases because they sometimes need to go at their own pace, and I think that children move on when they're ready to move on.
So you're saying that basically you're not saying that, but I'm making that up in my mind.
Hello?
Do you think
what? Tell me what?
Do you think that I'm actually doing the right thing and I just have to stick to it?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I think. Well, as long as you're modeling correctly,
yes.
As long as you're leading by example, as long as you're supporting, and all of those things mean that you're not manipulating, you're not intimidating, and you're not shaming the child, then you're heading in the right direction. You know that.
There's a thing about the shaming. There's a thing about the shaming because when she does that, right? Sometimes you're just frustrated. So sometimes I just make fun of it in a kind of friendly way. You know, I would just go, "Oh dear, Zora's playing the dinosaur again," or something like that. Is that shaming or is that okay?
Well, what do you actually say to her?
When she does that, well, sometimes when I'm really frustrated, right, I would what I just said, right? I would just say, "Oh dear, Zora's doing the."
Do you say that to her?
No, I just say it like in the air.
So you're saying it to nobody?
Yes, I'm just saying it out loud so that she can hear it, and it's intended for her. But I usually just say it like oh gosh, here we go again. She's not talking to me.
So you're not saying it to her. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, because that's exactly what she's doing with her answer. When you said that she'll turn away. That's exactly what you're doing. She's doing exactly what you did. You said that you have this response where you turn away and you don't speak to her, and that's what you just.
It's not that I didn't say I turn away and I don't speak.
Oh no,
to her.
I didn't say that you don't speak to her at all.
It's what I say when she does that, and then she just walks off, or she just continues doing her own thing, and she's obviously not picking me up, right? So.
Aren't you both doing the same thing?
I don't know. Are we? I don't know.
Yeah. There. I mean, look, conversation should be directed towards somebody.
Yes, but what I'm saying is I don't do that all the time. I'm just saying that sometimes when I'm frustrated, I will react that way.
No.
No.
So there you go. That's another parallel.
Yeah, my question was, is that shaming or not? You know, is that okay to make fun sometimes of?
I don't think that's making
things?
fun. I don't see that as making fun.
Well, I usually say something funny. that makes her giggle?
Humor is, relative to, time, place, people, situation. What one person sees as, funny, another person might be they might be the butt of the joke, as they say.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was wondering whether I should just not do it. I mean, how much humor is okay? What kind of humor is okay? If it makes her giggle, that doesn't necessarily mean that she thinks it's funny. Maybe it's just a reaction because she can't help laughing, like when you tickle people, right? And she just giggles, but she doesn't like me saying it. God knows what these things called children think.
She said. Mother of three.
I wanted to say kids, but things came out of my mouth. Anyway, yeah, that's the thing, right? You don't know. You say things, and you have no idea what they're going to think. Sometimes. Sometimes, in some situations. I mostly know what I'm doing. But there are some
After explaining that you don't. Okay.
But there are some situations when I question myself and I think,
can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Right. Staying positive about the feedback, whatever the situation. So, as long as you're encouraging her, as long as you're guiding her, as long as you're listening to her, you're going in the right direction. You might not get to exactly to the point you want to get to when you want to get there, but you're going in the right direction. Yeah. As long as you're not threatening, not punishing, not lecturing, you're going in the right direction.
I think that I have to work on my connection with Zora. I feel, from my parental perspective, it might have something to do with the fact that she's a middle child, right? That, it's middle children syndrome, right?
Okay. Let me.
They don't get as much attention.
Let me do a little test here. Right. 3 kids. Which one are you most physical with?
Jasmine.
Which one are you least physical with?
Probably Zora.
Okay. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I have
to
work.
The physicality comes from vicinity and contact and things. So
I have to work on the connection much more because I was very physical with her until we had Jasmine, and then it was mostly you and her because she was always a kind of a daddy's girl. You remember when she used to say, I don't love you, I love daddy, right?
Oh, I forgot about that.
She used to say that to me. She didn't love me and she didn't love Will, but she loved daddy and Jasmine. And that was when she was about 2.5 years old or 3 years old.
Who could not love daddy? No,
yeah, so I think we've kind of lost that connection when Jasmine was born a little bit. And I'm aware of that. And I know that I have to build it up because she really she doesn't get as much attention as the other two. She doesn't because with Will we always do school and we talk a lot with Will because he's very advanced when it comes to communication and knowledge, and he's very curious and he keeps asking questions. He just won't stop talking, right? So you can't really not talk to him. And Zora is kind of a person, she's kind of all for herself person. She will wander off into her room and she will do things by herself, and she's happy being by herself. And often she would tell me to go away because she wants to do things by herself, right? So being a busy mother of 3, I am guilty of taking that as a time off. And I'm just quite happy that, okay, that's great. I can have some coffee maybe, So I have to consciously create moments and times when we can connect. Because if I don't, I know that it's going to show, and I know that we're going to miss that later on in the relationship.
Well, keep taking steps in that direction.
Yeah.
Then keep taking steps.
Right. That was my. That was your
little rant.
That was my little internal monologue, verbalized.
Right. Jazzy has fallen asleep amongst the raisins.
Yes, I know. I've seen that.
As you do. So that's
funny.
okay. Yeah. Next, tip, trick, thought is that children are never the problem. They have problems, but the child itself is never the problem. They just have more problems because they have less control and less understanding.
Yes.
And that if you focus on the elements of assistance and help and growth, and you focus as a parent on bringing up the upbringing of the child and developmental elements and taking little steps forward, then you will get where you need to go. And it's much more positive to do that rather than thinking that something's broken and you need to fix it, which is what happens with all of these. Parents take their child to the doctor. Oh, my child's misbehaving. Doctor sticks them on, SSRIs or SSRIs or whatever the letters that are put together to create those
ADHD drugs. Basically, right?
Those drugs, because the children are being ODD, which is just being kids, basically. So don't punish them for being.
Sometimes,
themselves,
okay,
please.
I don't deny the existence of the actual diagnosis. I believe that some kids really truly have problems that they can be ODD, right? But I also know that it is misdiagnosed a lot of times, and it often, all of the time, basically, not all of the time, very often comes from the institution, right? Very often parents are alerted by the institution saying your child is ODD, even though the parent didn't have any problems with the child before, because the institution has a problem with the child, because the child doesn't fit the grid, basically. The child doesn't fit the slot, right? It's acting differently. We have no tools of how to approach this. Therefore, we need to drug him, basically, right? Because we're helpless. So I think that often it's misdiagnosed, just because the kid doesn't fit in the usual chart table slot shape kind of thing.
Yeah, so many people want to label things and pigeonhole them, and so that they think that they understand that. But
I know for a fact that the diagnosis is real in some situations. I have a friend who had a baby, and she had a very difficult delivery. It was about month before the due date, and they were both, kind of hanging on the line there for a few days. And they sent them to the neurologist as a just preventative, examination. They found that everything was fine, everything was okay. The baby's brain was developing properly and everything, but they had huge problems with sleep patterns. Right, the baby never slept. Okay. She slept like 4 hours a day, where a child should sleep 20. Okay.
Wow.
So they would just walk up and down with the baby in the baby carrier all night. They would take turns with her husband because otherwise the baby would just cry and cry, wouldn't go to sleep. Right. And they had that for like 3 months, and she got an alert from the neurologist saying that no sleep in babies sometimes means that the baby might develop an ADHD later in life. Okay. And my friend had a son who's like 20 years old already with an ADHD, so she knew a little bit about it. And her daughter did develop ADHD. She's homeschooled now. She's which
is better for her.
Absolutely. She's exactly Zora's age. And she is so advanced in her cognitive skills. She can read fluently, she can write, she can count, she speaks 2 languages. She's just really, she's about 2 years ahead in her brain development. So the diagnosis exists, but when you know how to work with it, these kids are just... It's like their pace of life is faster, They're not just moving faster; they're also picking up things faster. So if you don't put them in the ADHD's bad box, and you need to drug the kids, but you know how to work with them, it can actually be of benefit in certain ways.
Well, you're
recognizing
the needs of the child.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not, and you're recognizing not the present need, but the developmental and the future need as well.
Yeah.
Of
Absolutely.
the child, which
Absolutely. And this friend of mine had her son 20 years ago was in the system, right? And he had huge problems. He got kicked out of school several times. She said they had to change schools like 5 times because he kept having behavior problems. That the teachers kept.
Do you know what that's a sign of? When
the kid is bored. I don't know.
Oh, that's the sign of the fact there's a problem somewhere. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to state the obvious, so I'll just avoid that one.
Yeah,
okay.
and they were like, oh, that's because he's got ADHD, but she now knows that if she'd have taken him out of the school back then and just come with individual plan for him, then he might have done much better. He wouldn't have been stigmatized and labeled.
Yeah, treating an individual as an individual is not a bad thing to try to do.
But you often can't do it at school. Sometimes I suppose some teachers that are really committed can do that, but
yeah, I did a session yesterday where I was talking with a client about the fact that the teachers have the impossible job. You can't provide everything at every level for every student and prepare for everything. People can barely do that for themselves. How the hell can they do that for 20 other people? I mean, that's just a ridiculous task.
I mean, look at parenting, right?
Okay.
That's what you're doing, right?
Well, that's one of the points I made is imagine you're the parent, right? And imagine as a mother or father. Imagine as a mother you have 20 kids, right? You have 20 kids. How would you be able to deal and cope with those 20 kids, right? But it's okay to give 20 kids to somebody else and expect them to cope with it. I mean, that's madness.
Yeah.
So, the rational, intelligent person only needs to look at the situation for 10 seconds to realize that it's completely insane. So, why people are continually happy to send their children into insane environments is far beyond my ability to understand. So,
it's a slow process. Change is a slow process,
Yeah. So you need to focus on the fact that children have problems, but children themselves are not the problem.
Yeah.
And one other point that I wanted to make was that the name is not the knowledge. Just because you label somebody doesn't mean you understand them. And we do that very often. We label people, but we don't fully understand who they are and what they need. And that's going to the next level, is understanding who they are and what they need.
The point that I always emphasize is that when kids are acting out, so-called acting out, misbehaving, they usually only have one reason for it, which is fear, some kind of fear, stress, anxiety, fear. That's when they're misbehaving, or insecurity. Okay. And there's nothing else really. I mean, frustration, or an unmet need.
Yeah, they're uncomfortable with the situation they're in, so they have to do something to change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the only way is through some kind of forceful manipulation at that point when they can't deal with it themselves.
There's always an unmet need at behind the behavior. Always. So it's either whether it's the need for safety, right, or the need for connection, or the need for food sometimes.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. If you can't focus,
if you're hungry, if you didn't have breakfast,
if your body is telling you that there's other things that you need to do, you can't focus on the psychology of it. Like if you're being really hungry is like being really desperate to go to the toilet, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't focus on anything
like
else.
My mother said, my mother being a primary teacher, she said she could see when she's teaching at the beginning of the day, she said she could see which kids didn't have breakfast.
Okay.
Because they were unfocused, fidgety, all over the place, tired, and just not there.
I can understand that.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, well, when they do act out, it's important to understand them and for them to know that they are understood and for them not to be punished, because punishment is making a child suffer. Basically, it is basically an adult form of retribution against the child for making a problem.
It's basically saying, I'm gonna make you suffer because you suffer. Right?
Yeah. Again,
you're suffering, so I'm going to make you suffer more because I'm comfortable with your suffering and with the way that you demonstrate it.
Well, you're suffering, and I'm suffering because you're suffering, so I'm going to make you suffer more, which is only going to make me suffer more, which is just another giant downward spiral.
Yes.
So that makes no real sense either in the long term. What the children need to understand is that a certain level of discipline is what helps a child to solve a problem. Now, I don't mean discipline in the sense of punishment, but discipline in the sense of being a disciple. Yeah, following good leadership, following examples set by other people, and as adults setting good examples in terms of how to communicate.
I would like to tell people about one example that we had with William, which I thought was really a powerful thing to happen.
Okay.
And that was Will's exercising, right? When we went in the summer, it was really hot here in Slovakia, and we went to the outdoor swimming pool very often, right? And G would go swimming, and then after he would swim, he would do a little bit of exercise, some push-ups, right? Some little bit of jumping up and down or whatever, and William picked it up, right? So G didn't have to force him. You didn't have to tell him, well, you did tell him a few times. You were like, okay, well, let's do some push-ups or let's jump up and down to warm you up.
Well, that's you get out of the cold water, you're freezing cold,
Yeah.
and the sun pops behind the cloud, right? You.
Anyway, my point is that later on he was quite confident with his swimming, William was, and he would go swimming by himself, and we would just see him sitting on the blanket. We would just see him down at the pool, get out of the pool, and all by himself he would go and do the push-ups, and all by himself he would go and do the jumping and the squats or whatever he was doing. So he picked it up because he realized that it's a good thing, and it was a demonstration of some certain extent of self-discipline, right? And I just thought that was great, and it was all just following an example of somebody else doing it.
Yeah, you can't you can't criticize the child who's growing inside and is looking to develop their own.
Now, I bet you that if you forced him, right, if you told him every time after he swam, you have to do the push-ups now, otherwise, you will get punished, I guarantee you that as soon as he would see that you're not watching, he would do them, right? Because you wouldn't be there to make sure that he does them.
Yeah, so
but this way he was internally motivated, and he did them even though you weren't there.
Yeah, well, that's a relatively good example of modeling, where you're raising the child to understand how the adult solves the problem, and they solve the problem in a similar way. And in that respect, you focus on solutions, which is what it's all about, really. Moving on, I think we've got to do
one more,
one or two more.
I'm sorry, I have to have a drink.
Yeah. You're right there. You're not passing out or anything. Anyway, so moving on, another one. Cooperation over compliance. Something to think about. Encouraging meaningful cooperation over the idea that the child is being in some way forced to do something that they don't want to do. Understanding that there are always things that we all don't want to do all of the time, and that if we cooperate we can make things a little bit easier for each other rather than forcing someone to follow a very specific direction, because cooperation is what grows the communication skills. Communication to solve problems through cooperation is I think a key element of growth, and it leads eventually to a form of independence, and independence is kind of self leadership, and that's I think what we all want to see in our kids. We want them to grow up to have
that's the goal, isn't it?
Independence, where it's possible.
Yeah.
So try to be aware of creating opportunities for cooperation rather than situations of compliance in the activities that you do. So I don't know.
That's a good point. It's basically like a definition of a relationship, right? And a compliance. If there's the compliance instead of the cooperation, and the relationship is of the one of the leader and the person being led, right? Or more likely of a boss and an employee, right? Someone gives the order and the other one obeys, whereas the cooperation is like two leaders working together with the common goal, right? So so the relationship is more equal.
Yeah, fostering independence is underrated, because I think that if you're being led, it's very hard to be a leader. Yes, you need to follow some ideas. Yes, you need to have some people that you respect. Yes, you have to understand and know that some ideas are going to be important for you to learn from other people. But independence is one of those keys. The individual is not focused on at all within school systems and curriculums, and it's something that's very much undervalued. Is there going to be a big problem over there with things falling over as she tries to escape out onto the balcony? I think the curtain's going to rip down if she continues doing that.
Darling, wait a sec. Can you wait a second, yeah?
Why don't you pull the curtain over to this side? We try solving the problems on the balcony.
It's okay.
No, that's the opposite direction.
It's okay.
So is that going to work?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
Except that we've now over-contrasted the videos.
Yeah, well, I think
there's too much light.
Like a vampire. Yeah, okay. I think that parents should lead.
Because the neighbors will start banging again. So.
Parents are natural leaders for the children, right? I mean, that's their natural role. But we should remember to give the children the opportunity to lead as well. They find plenty of opportunities and free play with their friends, and if we support them at home and teach them how to lead. I'm sorry, I can't talk.
Oh, she's gone. That's it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
And teach them how to lead.
Over now.
Then they can practice it in a group of peers and get better at it.
Peers. Oh, okay. Right. Okay. There we go. Thank you very much, darling.
It's in some situations in life, you're going to be in situations where you need to let yourself being led, right?
Let yourself be led.
Yeah. And there are situations where you need to be a leader.
I think you have to pick and choose very carefully who you follow and why you followed them, which is a discussion for another day, I think. But it's very important to be very careful about that. No false idols is a topic that I could talk about all day. Anyway, a little bit of a review. Invite cooperation. Encourage discipline. Focus on the fact that children have problems. It's not that they are. You're right there. Those bananas. Oh, bananas.
That's for Zora.
Yeah.
Can I open it for you?
Bananas. Can you hurry up? I want to finish the podcast. Good job. I think I might have one as well when we're finished. Right. Okay. What's the problem with the banana?
It's brown.
The brown bits of the. Put it down there. Okay. Right. We will get to the end. Don't leave them alone.
My bananas.
You are right. Try to model control. Try to model leadership, support, encouragement, guidance, and.
Did you just say try to model control?
Keep your voice down. Yes. What's wrong with that?
Control.
With modeling control.
Control of what? Not control of the children, though.
No, you try to model self-control.
Okay, that's better.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, it was perfectly clear to me, but not to the rest of the world. So there we go. It happens sometimes.
That's why you have me.
So this is the Practical Parenting Podcast. You can get more information about what we do at the Academy of Language Therapy and Life Coaching online. There's a Facebook page. There's a YouTube channel with over 1,100 videos there now. You can hook up and link up to us everywhere. I'm experimenting and testing a lot of new technology on my Facebook page. Bear with me. Join in the discussion. It depends on you. And she's 21st century mom on the internet, so you can check out her blog posts. They're very enlightening, I think.
Thank you.
Very open, very honest. And any final words for the pun?
Final words. I lived a happy life.
Not any last requests.
Shot by the banana. No. I just like to say yes. Come over.
Do you remember the episode of the Muppets where they made a banana sharpener? Do you remember that?
Do you seem to remember that? Yes, a banana sharpener.
Say goodbye to dull, boring bananas forever with the banana sharpener.
You get killed by a sharp banana.
No.
Anyway, yeah. So come over. I'm preparing. I'm kind of flirting
with a banana right now.
With the idea of an organizational challenge. It might happen soon. So just keep your eyes out for that. And so what you say, eyes out? It's a bit disgusting. Keep your eyes out for the organization challenge, and maybe I'll get some stuff tidied up finally, right?
Eyes out. You ask people to take their eyes out.
Yes. Keep them out, not take them out.
They're gonna have to keep them out. If they have to take them out before they can keep them out, no?
Shut up.
Isn't that how it works?
Okay, people. Yes, thank you for watching.
Stop hitting me with a banana.
It's not sharp.
Banana fight.
Thank you for watching, everybody on Facebook. We're just always happy to have you.
There we go. Right.
Turn them off. Turn them off.
Turn them off.
Send them away from the living room.
Okay, thank you very much for watching on Facebook and on the podcast. We will catch up with you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.